Okay, so I'm watching the news and I see a piece about this lady, Rachel Dolezal. Hoping I'm saying her name correctly. It seems she is. The story is that a Caucasian couple of European descent, quote unquote, outed her as being their daughter, and she is the president of the NAACP in Spokane. And there they believe her to be an African American woman. There's actually a Spokane article with her in it, a picture of her in the article with a black man that she says is her father. And there were a number of people, African American black people. I am African. For anybody who doesn't know, so let's just be very clear. I'm African. I'm Liberian. As far as races go, my grandmother's grandmother is from Texas. Not from, oh God, I keep getting there. I think it's like Arkansas, but either way, my grandmother is like a product of a African American and a Native American parents. So with that being said, I was born in Liberia, West Africa, so I'm African. Lately, and I've always said, racism still exists. People had just done a better job of hiding it. But lately it's been like just rampant craziness. People getting shot everywhere, people getting brutalized everywhere. It almost seemed like this giant wound had opened up and all of this fume and this dust of racism just has kind of poured into the air. And all you see is just like stuff like that in the media everywhere. And this woman, Rachel Dolezal, is the president of NAACP in Spokane. And this woman, you have people who they're enraged and they're upset and they're angry that she has portrayed herself as a black woman and she is a white woman. And I'm thinking to myself, I gotta get out of here because people are so stupid. I hear all the time all these complaints about how, the racism, white people don't like black people, white people this, black people that. And it bugs me. And I don't like to use the word hate. It really, 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 really bothers me to hear people describe or identify a person by their race. If we're having a racial discussion, it's absolutely not a problem. But a person has a name. It's not that black woman or that white man or those white people or that black people or that black person. And by the way, it's not black. I understand that's the way people are identified, but my skin color is brown. I need people to know their colors. There's a difference between brown and black. So, this woman has not portrayed a black person or African American person in a negative way at all. She's the president of the NAACP. And for people who are so angry and so enraged, I'm wondering what exactly it is the anger is about. What exactly it is they're upset about. Because all I hear is that she's not black. She doesn't get to own being black. There's all this stuff about how white people don't like black people. Now here's this woman who, if it is true, because it's what's in the news, and this is just my 2 cents and what else on that. But if it is in fact true that those two people who said that she's their daughter, they're of European descent and they have no African American or black in their family whatsoever, what harm has she done exactly? There's this woman who loves this race so much, if it is true, she has entirely identified with it. Now, she might have a little bit of an identity crisis with her being in a picture with a black man and saying that man is her father. When there are these two other people sitting there saying they're her parents, that's something entirely different. But what exactly has she done wrong by carrying on and identifying as a black woman? She has not, that I know of or have seen, portrayed herself with or display any of the negative stereotypes that a black woman is usually identified with. I don't see them saying, well, the reason why black people are so mad, the black community is so mad is because she's out here, doing all these stereotypes and talking about how she's on welfare and all that other crazy stuff that people like to identify with the African American woman. She hasn't carried herself in that way. She has in no way, shape, or form done or said anything to display the black community in a negative way. She is the president of the NAACP. So if anything, she's out there and she uses her voice to speak for the African American community. I need somebody to tell me, help me understand. Because maybe with my high IQ, I'm still missing something. So I need somebody to help me understand what it is she's doing wrong. Because it's like, we get to own the blackness. She doesn't get to say she's black if she's not black. So what is it that's exactly wanted? Because if that's the case, what I just say, if that's the issue, then whoever it is saying that what they really wanted is for things to remain separate. It's for the black to be black and the white to be white. So again, I'm a little confused how people can be screaming about racism and we need to fight racism and we need to end racism when in that same voice they can say something like she doesn't get to be black or say she's black. We own the blackness. That's contradictory. Because if it's that we own the blackness, she doesn't get to say she's black, blah, blah, whatever, then you're saying that you want things to remain separate. I really need people to take a second, however many seconds they need, and think about what exactly it is they really want. There was this doctor, Vijay Kahal, I think I'm saying his name right, Indian guy. Well, he didn't get to be a doctor, but he registered in medical school, applying as a black man, because whatever it is the registration process was, it would give him, he applied as a black man, and it gave him an edge, and that's how he got in. He felt so bad about it that he dropped out. So this is something where people are actually claiming to be black because it's advantageous for them. And I actually heard a man on the news, and this was another thing. I'm so confused, it's not even funny. He complained, he said, being black in America is a negative. It's not something that's supposed to be advantageous. And I promise you those words came out of the mouth of a black man. Do you understand my confusion? So what he's mad about is that this person applied to college, to medical school, and checked the box that said they were black, and they got in. He's mad because being black is supposed to be something that is negative for a person. People aren't supposed to benefit from that. A black man says this. Do you understand my confusion? And this is what the Indian guy, Vijay Kahal, and I just refer to him as the Indian guy. So there I am picking up some of the same mess I'm not supposed to be doing. So Vijay Kahal, and I realized the reason I said that is in order to identify who he is. I'm not showing pictures, this is just audio. So he says, you know what? I think if people could just switch races on the application, racism would no longer exist. Because when your paperwork is reviewed, no one really knows who you are. If that's what it takes, that's very interesting. When I fill out an application or any forms or whatsoever and they ask my race, they never have a form that says African. So what I do is I create my own little box, or if they say other, I check other, and then I explain everything. And I want to make sure, for me, I need to make sure that I don't lose myself. But I don't feel like, and I realize in saying that someone could grab onto that and say, well, that's exactly why the African American community is upset, because we want to make sure we don't lose our identity. How is the African American community losing their identity by another person saying that I love your race so much, I want to entirely identify with it? How does the African American community lose anything by that? And it's not like someone identifying with it. And then look at this again. This is someone who says that by their action. Love the African American community so much, love the race so much, she wants to identify with it. And not in any way, shape, or form displaying herself in a negative way. She doesn't identify with the stereotype that is quote unquote supposed to be the black woman. So for anybody who for 1 second, I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Because it's like watching, and there were these two people sitting there going, that's our daughter. And they're from Europe, you know. And they show pictures of her like white, you know, with almost with blonde hair, I think. But when you see her, she's tan and she has dark hair and she had dreads and whatever. She looked mixed. She looked mixed or she looked black. For me, I wouldn't give it a second. I just thought it was really interesting. I wouldn't give it a second thought because I never see a race. I don't see a race. I only see the soul of a person. I never see a race. A person could be purple for all I care. And maybe that's just the person that I am. But for anyone who's actually upset that this woman, she's fooled us. You know, she's been portraying herself as a black woman. This woman was not in the music video shaking her behind. She didn't do anything, any of the negative stereotypes. You can go down the list that, you know, the negative opinion of society says a black woman is. She didn't do any of those things. And for the reporter that cornered her and tried to put her on the spot, was like, so who is this man? Is this your father? You know, she was like, are you getting at something? I mean, you could tell. It kind of felt like, you know, she knew they were getting at something, that she had been outed. But she still didn't address it in a negative way. She was like, you know, are you getting at something? Do you have a question? You know? So I really need people to think about that. What exactly has this woman done wrong? If you really think about it, and this is me slipping right back into that little piece of the psychologist, this woman has paid a compliment to a race. She hasn't insulted her race in any way, because I know I haven't even addressed the whole what the Caucasian community say, because everything I'm saying is based on what I got from the media. This is my reaction to what I saw in the media. And there wasn't like any Caucasian person interview who said, you know, shame on her, she's putting her race down and any of the other stuff. They didn't talk to anyone who said anything like that. So I can't speak to what didn't happen. So, but honestly, from what I see, this lady has paid her race a compliment. And then a negative mind, and I can hear it already, a negative mind would jump on there and say, oh, so she paying us a compliment? You think no. If instinctively that is anybody's reaction to what I just said, you need to pause. Give it the good 3 seconds it deserves before you say something. If you view a compliment as a negative thing, you have to ask yourself why. So I feel like I need to explain the compliment. She has paid the African American race a compliment by saying, I'll repeat myself again, I love your race so much, I want to entirely identify with it. That's the compliment. Not what may be whirling around in a negative mind. Oh, it's a compliment because, I mean, y'all should feel good. At least I want to act like a black woman. It's not that. As a man or a woman thinketh, so is he or she. Wherever you take your mind, that's where your body will follow. Everything is first created in thought. This woman has done absolutely nothing wrong. She hasn't championed anything. I don't feel like she should be applauded. Like, oh my gosh, she's done this wonderful and awesome thing. She's just carried on and lived her life in the way she's chosen to. She hasn't harmed anybody. She hasn't harmed anybody. If I would say that she's championed anything would be the work that she's done, possibly as a president of the NAACP. Now, I did see that she was interviewed or gave a report about something about them getting some threats in the mail and pictures and things like that, and the police were investigating. But once they found this out, the reporter said that they had looked into it, those reports, and they didn't find anything, so they've halted that. So by her claiming to be, again, if it is true, because this is what was reported, I'm pretty sure they check their facts before they report, but what I'm saying is based on what somebody else said, and people are fallible. People are fallible. So if it is true that she is those two people's daughter, she's clearly Caucasian. So what that means is that has called her credibility into question. That means that if she can lie to an entire community about her race, then how credible is it that she actually received a threat in the mail and whatnot? So they said they've halted the investigation. I don't know how they work. I've had personal experience with the police doing investigation and stuff, and they've straight up told me if there's not a dead body or some kind of major crime, the way I understood it, if it's not some kind of major crime where they can, like, it can be on the news and they can take big credit for it, they're not going to investigate it. That's just the way it works. That's been my personal experience. And they told me, seriously, a detective told me, if there's not a dead body involved, they're not going to investigate it. I've had personal experience with them in that way. So, that's my 2 pennies.